In my last video, you saw the SCX24 just chew this rock course up, so I won't go into that again. I might leave a link in the description, but it's pretty easy to find. This is a highly modified SCX24, all the way down to high clearance suspension links that do not get in the way of anything while I was driving. This is a modified Enduro24. I've got RC four-wheel drive wheels, Patagonia tires. I've moved the battery forward a little bit. It's on 2S, and it does have the stock ESC in it currently. I've added weight to the tail axle, and since there was no place to possibly put weight on the axle, I had to mount it to the frame. That's 3 pennies. It's about 12 or so grams of increased force, and that motor, I just realized, is super hot, so it doesn't really like the extra weight or the 2S. But I've been trying to do a little bit of the same stuff I did with the SCX24 last night, and I'll just show you the difference in a few of these challenges. It can do some of them, but it's not real successful with a lot of them. Start off with a pretty easy climb. The SCX24 had no problem with this to drive through. That was actually about the best time I've done it so far with this car. Try it one more time. The other thing I've done to this car here is added a hot racing drive shaft from the front of an SCX24. I've included that in the back of this one just because the stock one literally cannot handle 2S lipo. So that's the in the back there, you can see the drive shaft. That's metal from hot racing. That's the only one so far that can hold up to this motor and battery combination. We'll give it one more try. I know if I drop that left rear wheel into the hole there, it's not going to come out. It'll bind up the entire car. So I'll be real careful here. Ooh, actually made it. I'm surprised. Now with this RC four-wheel drive wheels, this car is actually a bit wider than stock. In fact, it's wider than my SCX24. And on a narrow course, that's actually kind of a bad thing because it doesn't fit through where it needs to go. actually surprised it's working this well. This is the best run I've had with it so far. So it does make it through the return trip. No problem through the first third. Let's see how she does in the middle. It would also be a better car had I put the SCX24 speed controller back into it. It would be a little bit less jumpy. That makes it. Try some of the other low lines. I did add weight to this car prior to these runs just because it couldn't do anything prior to that. And I wanted to give it every chance it could to make it through. Here's where a little bit of extra track width can be beneficial because these rocks are separated by a bit of a gap as it's trying to climb. I don't know if you can tell very well in the video, but there is a gap there, and it does benefit from being able to reach a little wider as it goes through the gap to make the climb. Alright, it did okay on this line here, and the next line we're going to try is this one. There is a bit of a gap right there in the center of the screen you see that sometimes catches tires, and these holes are kind of intentional so that it is hard to do. But you saw the SCX24 do it. I'm confident this one can do it as well. Maybe not on the first try. And it does. This is the next line over. And what you're seeing here is the frame bottoming out. My modified SCX24 does not bottom out. And when you bottom something out like that, the only way over it is to basically momentum the car. So I needed to hit it and just slide right over the top. It's not wanting to cooperate. Try it again. close. It has to line up right though. We'll try the next line over. This one's going to get harder because the terrain clearance is more of a factor. It has less ground for the wheels to be able to grip on, just because the rocks are narrower. The Enduro24 on 2S lipo is very fast. It's 5 kilometers per hour, and for a crawler of this size, that's really almost too quick. It sort of makes it jumpy. I just ran out of the camera. Sorry about that. That wasn't pretty, but it made it up. I took a short break after that last attempt to just let the motor cool down. I put it on a cooling fan, and with this gearing and these batteries I'm using, 2S lipo, it gets the motor pretty hot. You got to really watch out for that on this Enduro if you're going to do that. I'm confident it'll make this run pretty easily. Just got to find the line that doesn't hang the front bumper up. Uh-oh. And it does okay. Next line over, same thing. That's where the wider track is hurting it. It needs to have the wheels closer together to be able to get a grip over a narrow point. But it has no problem. Next is the incline. Also no problem. I am impressed. If you want to really improve the performance of your car, put a little bit of weight on the rear axle. I had 2 pennies and a nickel glued to it. I've knocked those off on the last run, and I literally glued 3 pennies to the bottom of the frame rail here, and I gotta tell you, it is really making the difference here, because it could not do half of what it's doing without it. I'm actually kind of impressed that it's working. Where this is going to struggle is this top hill here. Try to get a video of that. It just does not have the ground clearance that it will need to really be able to do that. I may be able to hit it in the right way and pop the front end over, but there we go. Yeah, after wheels and tires, I would say add some weight to that front end and add some weight to the tail. I think it's more important on the front end than the tail. 3 pennies adds about 12 grams. It really is noticeable. I also have the RC four-wheel drive wheels that we talked about earlier, and those add quite a bit of weight. Scramblers would be a little more ground clearance, and I intend to eventually put some on this, and I think it will be a proportional increase in capability. Again, I'm going to put some RC four-wheel drive mudslingers on the SCX24 when I get it, and then the scramblers from that will come over to this. The good news is they're already broken in and they work real well. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It's still not the SCX24, but there are things you can do to make it better. Start with the rear metal drive shaft. If you don't know where to get one, buy the one for the SCX24 and use the front drive shaft that it comes with. I'm sure if you wanted to do a little bit of grinding, you could take the rear drive shaft and cut it down and, you know, make it fit with a grinder or Dremel tool. I could do it; it wouldn't be any issue. But so far, the front one's held up just fine. It hasn't split or done any weird things, and I really don't anticipate it doing that at this point. Most of the torque is transmitted through the rear drive shaft anyway. But that does make it a lot better. This body makes it better. You don't have any wheel clearance issues. It's ugly, but all I care is about function. I'm not trying to win a beauty contest with it. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed the comparison, and we'll talk to you later.